Back in 2005, if you owned a DS, Mario Kart DS pretty much ruled your world. It was everywhere, and honestly, nothing really came close. But maybe you walked into a store with a few dollars in your pocket and a wild sense of hope, only to spot some box screaming that it would set your DS on fire. ATV Quad Frenzy, that's what we're talking about. This game came from Skyworks, a dev team mostly known for browser games, so right out of the gate, they weren't exactly household names. ATV Quad Frenzy is a wild mix, equal parts fascinating, frustrating, and secretly kind of cool. If you look back from 2026, it feels like a relic from a time when DS developers were just throwing anything against a wall to see if it'd stick. I mean, this game tried to make the DS do things it just wasn't built to handle. Half genius, half train wreck. Today we're digging into this DS exclusive, ATV Quad Frenzy. Let's kick things off with the stuff that actually worked. Most DS games stuck with basic polygons, and honestly, they look like someone created them with a pair of scissors. But Quad Frenzy went with voxels. Yes, voxels. That old school PC graphics trick, the same thing that gave Delta Force its weird bumpy landscapes. Thanks to voxels, the environments in this game actually look shockingly decent. The hills roll naturally, mountains curve in ways you wouldn't expect, and you get this sense that you're really barreling through some messy off-road terrain. For a 2005 handheld, seeing terrain that actually moved and flowed instead of just jagged edges everywhere felt like black magic. The DS didn't explode, and it's honestly incredible. But, and it's a big but, your draw distance, non-existent. You can see maybe just a few meters ahead, so most of the time you're tearing through mud and trees or flags just pop up out of nowhere, like they got teleported in. Technically it's impressive, but playing it feels like every race could turn into a horror game at any second. But once you hit the gas and start driving, the magic fades fast. The way your ATV handles jumps is just bizarre. Instead of dropping back down to earth, it sort of hovers in midair. Gravity doesn't really apply here. It's more like the game's ignoring basic physics and hoping you don't notice. And when we talk about crashes, oh boy. By now we're used to seeing bodies flop around with realistic ragdoll physics when things go wrong. In Quad Frenzy, your rider launches off the bike like they've been fired from a cannon, frozen stiff as a board. It reminds me of a kid chucking an action figure across the room. Not exactly lifelike, but honestly kind of hilarious, at least for the first few times. But when you're sent flying because you barely tapped some blocky bush that hadn't even loaded right, that's when you find yourself wanting to slam the DS shut and pretend you never saw it. And now let's get into the presentation because it's unforgettable in all the worst ways. The interface feels like somebody built it after spending half an hour browsing the internet in the 90s. You're trapped in a loop. Pick a rider, grab a suit, choose your bike, then suddenly you're back at the main menu scratching your head. You have to dig through a maze of useless screens just to start a race. And honestly, this game is a textbook case of something rushed to market before it was ready. The developers clearly poured almost all their effort into the voxel engine and slapped together the rest at the last minute. It's less a finished game and more a demo pretending it's ready for store shelves. That was pretty common for early DS third-party games. Everyone wanted to match Nintendo's polish, but most just didn't get there. So where does this thing stand today? Honestly, if you line it up next to anything current, it's a mess, totally unplayable. But if you look at it as a historical artifact, that changes everything. It's fascinating to see how developers squeezed every last drop out of weak hardware back then. The game's clunky, slow, and that blistering speed they bragged about on the box, more like a casual jog. I'd call it a 4 out of 10 as a game, but the tech behind it though, that's a solid 10. It's proof of that strange, awesome time when handhelds tried to jump from 2D to 3D. They really went for it, even if the results were all kinds of weird. So I'm curious, did anybody out there actually own this? Were you one of the lucky kids tearing off wrapping paper on Christmas and then spending hours just trying to get track 1 running? Or maybe you were a die-hard Mario Kart fan and skipped it. Drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, smashing that like button seriously helps us out.